Hey everyone, Felipe here. Welcome to another Tower of Saviors GNN news review. I know it's been a long time since I've done one of these, but I'm back. And especially with the new Black Gold cards coming out, I wanted to give you my thoughts and opinions about these cards. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, typically with the Chinese New Year coming up, Madhead releases Black Gold cards, and these are typically very good cards. For example, Tsuyo, Ingzhen, Unanula, and the recent trend has been to release two of them. Like last year, we had Una and Nula together, which, in my opinion, is a little bit steep in terms of diamond cost because in order to guarantee both of them, you are looking at an average of 400 diamonds. So, uh, Chinese New Year, people have their red envelope, so that's a way for Madhead to get more money, I guess. But the thing is, these Chinese New Year Black Gold cards are typically one of the cards that are able to survive the meta more often. For example, Una and Nula still see some play nowadays. Ingzhen and Tsuyo, you wouldn't be able to look at a leaderboard without seeing them there. So these cards are typically very powerful and can last about a year in terms of meta development. And looking at the skills of these cards, I can feel like they will also have some of that potential as well. So, as usual, we also have the 30 for 30 purchase bonus, but where we're really interested is going to be looking at their leader skill, team skills, and active skills. So, starting with Prometheus, we have the leader skill. We have team attack times 11, which is a new high. Actually, not a new high, but it's a team attack times 11 is a new. How do I put this? It shows how the meta is being power crept. We started with times 6, then times 7, times 8. Now we're at times 11, and you will see the number 11 a lot. And that is because it is the 11th anniversary for Tower of Savior, so no coincidences there. That was totally planned. But the leader skill is surprisingly simple for a Black Gold card. It's basically just a 11 team attack bonus, HP recovery, runestone possession, and another 11 times attack bonus if you do 11 or more combos. And 11 or more combos are typically not that easy to do, but he does have combo increasing team skills, so that is going to make it very easy, which gives this team leader skill a 121 times attack bonus at a base, which is actually very good. And notice how it's not race or attribute restricted, which means he is going to be very powerful and very flexible as well. There is that 1.3 advantage for beasts and gods, but 1.3 in the grand scheme of things is not going to make or break your team, so feel free to run any flexible teams as you like. Looking at his team skill, we have some pretty insane things going on. With Nero and Prometheus, if your leader is Prometheus or your ally is Prometheus or Nero, you get the Foresight ability, which by using one charge of your Dragonary Craft and activating when it's fully charged, you do get a protective shield for. You refresh your protective shield, and for 2 rounds, you will be able to get a fixed sky drop, and that is going to help with damage and also combo increases. And most importantly, you will enter a blessed state. And that's also something that's interesting about Madhead. They keep introducing all these states like Windswept, Frenzy. Back then it was just Fatigue and Hyper and was very simple. But now we have Berserk, Fatigue, Windswept. But the new one is going to be Blessed State. And that is going to come into play right now. So if your leader is Prometheus, you get an insane amount of team skills, and honestly it's kind of crazy. So extend runestone movement time regardlessly by 6 seconds, that's always pretty nice, but you also get a protective shield of 80,000 points. And if you played any Nula teams, you know that having a protective shield that can resist any attack once It's actually really nice and really useful against a lot of the stages in the game. But here's the kicker too. If you are in a blessed state, this amount gets tripled to 240,000, which is an insane amount of shield points. It basically is going to help you survive any hit from any enemy. And the thing with this shield is that no points will be deducted if the attack that you receive is less than the total amount of shield points, which means that unlike Nula, your shield doesn't deplete and will always be able to protect you with that 240,000 if you are able to maintain blessed state. Even if you're not, 80,000 points of shields is actually quite a lot too. And when you end blessed state, you will be able to recover your 80,000 shield if you lost it. Truthfully, in terms of shield mechanics, Nula's is better because you have a consistent way of refreshing it. You just need to generate protector runes and you're able to refresh your shield. But in this case, the only way to refresh your shield is to activate your Foresight ability, which consumes one activation of your Draconic Compulsion, so that is finite, and ending your blessed state, which is also tied through your Foresight ability. So there is no consistent way of recovering your shield, and if you use up all those ways, it is pretty hard to recover it unless you use active skills that refresh the protective shield. So point for point, Nula's shield is better, but here is the thing. You can dodge the attack of the first attack of each enemy once. This is like Gojo Satoru, and this also means that your shield is not hit by the enemy, and which means it also is not consumed. Burning and Smog Nullify, pretty nice. Tornado and Laser, also nice utility to have. And here we have the rundown on the blessed state, but and we'll cover that in a bit. But keeping on with the team skill, we get some really insane things. For example, by dissolving God runes, your combo count increases by 11. God runes can be dissolved singly or in groups of 2 or more in the first batch. Damage will be dealt regardless of fixed combo shield, anti-runestone shield, combo seal, and runestone combo nullifying, which means that you are going to be able to break a lot of shield in the game really easily. And at the end of each round, you're generating 3 columns of enchanted God runes of fixed numbers and fixed positions. And that is basically makes this team mindless to use, because you just generate those 3 columns at the end, and then you get a single dissolve for them because of your team skill, and it doesn't matter what the enemy has because you ignore it with these shield breaking passive skills. Furthermore, you can also stun the enemies if you do a cross shape, and by dissolving 11 or more runestones, team attack increases by 11 times, which is an insane amount of team attack for such an easy condition, because you're getting 15 runes that can be dissolved singly every round. So that is an amazing amount of damage. So all in all, this team skill is pretty insane, and Prometheus is going to be a very, very good leader. Just considering all the things that he has, all the damage multipliers he has, plus the flexibility of running any race and any attribute, plus the utility of shield and dodging, all those defensive skills, and also just all the utility for shield breaks. So with that, he's already a very good leader. And now I want to talk about the blessed state, which is also going to be a big part of his team skill. I just didn't want to include it because, like I said, blessed state can be a little bit limited since you can only activate it with your Foresight skill. But it does give you a lot of good things. If you're in a blessed state, your active skills are not locked. You will not enter fatigue, hypnotized, wind state, or paralyzed state, which means you can just keep going as usual. And if you kill an enemy, this blessed state will remain. So it incentivizes to kill and kill and kill every round in order to maintain your blessed state, because again, you can only enter it using foresight as far as I know. But if this is the thing that is going to make this very stupid. If Prometheus or Nero is in a blessed state, disorder scale remains unchanged. And you might be wondering, what is disorder scale? For new players, for older players, this is basically the mechanic for calamitous stages. And it's one of the most annoying things to deal with, especially for new players, because in order to counter it, you need specific cards that remove effects, or you need to have a good amount of corrupted dragonware, which for newer players is going to be really hard to get. And the fact that you can ignore this by just having Prometheus in a blessed state is going to be very good for you to farm those calamitous stages without any problem at all. And the fact that he has so much multiplier and utility means that he is going to be a prime candidate for newer players to be able to complete all the calamitous stages to date, in my opinion. Unless there's a stage restriction that doesn't let you bring Prometheus into that stage. But other than that, I think he is a very good leader to bring for any calamitous stages to date right now. But yeah, again, blessed state for every member, combo count increases by 5, not that you need it because he already has so much going on for him. So as a leader, he is going to be amazing, and in my opinion, definitely worth getting, because from what I see, his skills and team skills will allow him to survive the meta quite a bit. Potentially until next Chinese New Year, I think, maybe. Because right now he's powerful, but then afterwards you can still use other cards to buff him, and there is so much support and also god specific support that will also make this card really good. So when he starts falling off, you just add a couple buffers. He already has so much utility that you don't need utility in the team. You can just focus on stacking buffs on your team. Cool. So now looking on at his team active skill, he is going to be part of the EP skill mechanic, which is actually not that bad, and it's actually pretty good, especially because black gold cards typically can recover 2 EP per round, which is pretty nice. It's easier than recovering cooldown, and with his single dissolve, you're probably not gonna have much problem recovering EP. But yeah, for 1 round, you just turn all runestones touched into enchanted god light runes. You remove electrified, frozen, weakened, lock for recovery, and petrified runes touch while moving, which is very nice. You are missing condensed runes, but being able to remove all those hazards by just moving is going to be pretty good. You launch 11 extra attacks, ignore equal and initial shield, which is 2 of the shields that he didn't break, but now with his active skill can easily break. And you will be able to deal damage regardless of cross-shaped shield, which honestly is one of the, in my opinion, one of the best utilities nowadays, because of the existence of 3 same attribute cross shields. For those shields, the only way to do it is to bring a boundary breaking skill like the protagonists or the 9th seal chaos, and some people might not have them, and then it also limits your team building, so being able to ignore cross-shaped shield is going to be pretty good. Combo count increase, you don't need it, and if no enemy is defeated, you dodge the first attack of each enemy in the round. And this might seem a little bit redundant, but consider running a Prometheus in a non-Prometheus team. This is going to be a very good active skill as a member as well. So much utility packed into it, lots of extra attacks, utility to break shield, you get extra combos. I guess the only thing is you don't get a self-attack increase, which is a shame, but I think it's still pretty good as a member as well, and it allows you to dodge attacks in the future for any other team. So I think this active skill has a lot of value now in a Prometheus team, but also is going to have a lot of value. Yeah, it's going to have a lot of value in future teams as well, especially because of the equal combo, initial shield, and the dodging mechanic. The board debuffs is also pretty nice, but I feel like leaders in the future will already ignore that inherently, so not that great. And then, unfortunately, cross-shaped shield and combo count is tied to having Prometheus or Nero as a leader, so that's not gonna apply, but overall it's still a pretty good active skill. So yeah, all in all, I think Prometheus is an amazing card and definitely worth getting in my opinion. Next, we're moving on to Nero, and Nero is interesting. She has basically the same attack multipliers as Prometheus. So, point for point, in terms of attack damage, they're going to be dealing the same amount of attack. So, for example, well, with some minor differences. For example, her team attack is 11. She also has a times 11 attack bonus in her kit leader skill. She does have more defensive options in her leader skill than Prometheus, but her damage is going to be pretty similar. Looking at her team skill, we'll cover this later, but for example, we'll look at the bottom one. You get a beast rune. If you dissolve beast rune, you get 11 combos, and then you also get a times 11 attack bonus if you dissolve 11 or more runes. So comparing it to Prometheus team skill, point for point, the attack bonuses are basically the same. But she is going to differ in the utility that she has. So based on her leader skill itself, you can see that she is going to be a little bit more on the defensive side. This one, the fourth effect, is actually pretty interesting, where you can defend yourself from a specific attribute enemy, which is nice, but it's kind of gimmicky that you have to fulfill that condition. It's honestly not a hard condition to do, so I'm surprised they didn't just build that into her kit, you know? But yeah, leader skill basically the same, so now let's take a look at the team skill. Foresight doesn't apply because the leader has to be Prometheus, so we'll ignore that. But Nero is going to have, or Nero is going to have a passive skill in any teams that you include her in. If you dissolve 3 types of runestones for 7 times cumulatively, if you dissolve 6 types of rune in the same round, it will count as 2 times. Or if Nero is equipped with a chronometer, she will enter iridescent mode. In iridescent mode, your attack increases by 2, and your damage will be dealt regardless of defense. So that's pretty nice. But most importantly, the team will not be poisoned. And this is going to be for any leader that you have, as long as Nero is in the team. And having a 2 times attack self bonus and a defense break just by fulfilling a very easy condition is honestly a pretty good thing for any members in the future. And poison is not that common nowadays, but if you do encounter it, it is very good utility to have. And the reason why I say that this is a very easy condition to hit is because if you use your Chronon spheres to level up your Chronon card to max, you start with a fully charged Chronon meter, which means you can just give it to her and you will have iridescent mode from the get-go. So pretty easy condition to hit. So now let's take a look at her real team skills, where if you run her as a leader, this is what you get. Extra 11 seconds, which is more than Prometheus. Sticky and black holes will be nullified, and black and white zones will be nullified. Lighting the way and darkening the way will be nullified. So they both cover very different board debuff mechanics. And that is pretty good too. Modify runes touch while moving to become beast runes, pretty good. Enchanted runes, so all very good things. By dissolving attributive runestones, Nero launches 1 extra attack of each attribute, as much as 50% of its attack. Basically an inbuilt Andromeda. And honestly, it's a very nice thing to have, especially with 5-element shields popping up everywhere nowadays. And after Dragonic Compulsion, she will enter, she and Prometheus will be enter a blessed state. So if you're wondering what do we do since we don't have Foresight, how can we enter blessed state? You just activate your compulsion and you will enter your blessed state. And the same things apply for a narrow team. When you're in the blessed state, you get all the benefits of it, and yada yada yada, disorder combo. Except now you do get damage will be dealt. Actually, no, that is its own thing. So damage will be dealt regardless of fixed combo shield and enemy specific damage reducing resistance. And by dissolving all runestones in the first batch, damage will be dealt regardless of runestone number shield, which is actually very nice. But if you are generating a fixed board in the first place, it's pretty easy to deal with any type of number shields. But yeah, overall, I think as a leader, she's actually not that bad. But I feel like Prometheus has more useful utility against things that you encounter more often. Narrow has a lot of utility, and it's very niche utility that you don't see often, but that's exactly it. You don't see often, but being able to counter them when they appear is definitely nice. Black holes are very rare. Sticky is arguably more rare than burning, but it still happens a lot. Black and white zone is very rare. Light the way and darkening the way is also very rare. But man, when they appear, it's sure annoying. Enemy specific damage reducing resistance is also very rare, but when you're able to use it, it's amazing because specifically for enemies that increase their defense or reduce their damage based on the groups of runestones that you dissolve. Because sometimes Skydrop doesn't want to help you and just gives your enemy a 100% damage reduction. So using this is very good, and the fact that it's inbuilt in her team skill is amazing. But yeah, number shield also pretty rare and easy to counter. So yeah, she as a leader is not bad, but the things she counters are very situational in the grand scheme of things. They're very rare because Madhead has decided to not use them as often as Runestone Combo Nullifying, Anti-Runestone Shield, Fixed Combo Shield, what else do we have? Fixed, Anti-Runestone Combo, and Runestone Combo Nullifying. Basically, these four for Prometheus, you can almost be certain that there will be at least one in every single stage that is being released nowadays. On the other hand, black holes, specific damage reducing resistant, number shield, they have been more common, but they aren't appearing left and right like the other ones. So yeah. Moving on to her active skills. It's actually not that bad. She has 2 active skills, which makes her a very good member card because it gives you flexibility. Her first one releases the lock skills of all members, and that is amazing because it has no race or attribute restriction. It's just an universal unlock. You also clear Fatigue, Hypnotize, Windswept, and Paralyzed state of all members, regardless of race, attribute, or series, which is an universal refresh, which is also amazing. Remove all runes to generate a fixed board. Also amazing because you don't have to worry about spinning. And then you can counter a lot of things with a fixed board. So that is also very nice. EP5, it's a very fast activating active skill. It's honestly really good. For her second active skill though, this is also an amazing active skill. Clear all additional effects in play, which is going to include Hypnotized, Windswept, Skill Lock, any type of things. So the thing with EP skills is that you have to choose one and it consumes the same pool of EP. So if you consume this one, you have less EP to activate the first one. So if you're able to clear all effects in play, You can also clear Fatigue, Hypnotize, Windswept, and Paralyzed without having to activate your first skill. And why is that important? Because the second skill allows you to single dissolve the entire board, and with the flexibility to not single dissolve certain runes. For example, you may have noticed that she doesn't have an anti-runestone shield or combo nullifying utility counter, but you can just tap fire runes 4 times, earth rune once, and water once, and that means that dark, light, and heart will not be single dissolved. Basically, with her skill, you can choose what gets single dissolved and what doesn't, and that is going to be amazing because it just gives you so much utility and flexibility for defeating enemies that it's going to be absolutely insane. And not only that, each member will launch 1 extra attack of the attribute that you tap. So you can also tailor your attacks to be whatever the enemy is weak to. Also non-attributive attacks as well. And that's honestly very stupid because it doesn't have any restriction on who the leader has to be. You can just use this in any team, and now you have 6 extra attacks for all your team members of any attribute that you choose, and you get a single dissolve for any attribute that you want. And actually, she does have a anti-runestone shield, first batch ignore, and puzzle shield ignore, but that's only for beasts and gods, which is nice, but you're not gonna need it if you have a single dissolve. This second skill is absolutely insane, and it's one of the reasons why I will highly recommend this card. So here's the thing. I know 400 diamonds is a lot, which is why I'm here to let you know how I would spend my diamonds. If you are lacking a leader, if you're new to the game, I will highly recommend getting Prometheus because he has a very good leader skill and he has utility that is more common, that shows up more often. So he is going to be very useful to clear stages that are coming up. He has a lot of defensive options with his shield and dodging. He has attack. He also has utility that is very common. So all in all, he's actually going to be very good as a leader. In terms of Nero, she is going to be a little bit... I think she is also flexible like Prometheus, and you can definitely run her as a leader. But like I said, her utility is going to be more rare than Prometheus. So value-wise, as a leader, Prometheus will be better. Just considering the probability of enemies that have the skills that he counters inherently. I hope that made sense. However, if you already have really good leaders, you already have a light god leader, and keep in mind that during TGS they announced that they're going to release the Supreme Reckoning Primal Greek gods, so there's a lot of things planned, and the game itself already has a lot of gods. So if you already have a powerful leader, I would say consider getting Nero, because this second skill right here is very universal and it's going to be insane for any team that you place her in. Not only that, she has her passive skills which increases her attack by 2 times and also protects your team from poisoning. But this active skill right here, this second active skill, is absolutely broken, and in my opinion, it's definitely worth getting. And so yeah, I'd say if you're new and don't have a lot of options in your inventory, get Prometheus. That's going to carry you for a very long time. If you are an older player with a lot of cards, but you can only choose one, I will recommend Nero for 2 reasons, or for 3 reasons. One is that her multipliers are very similar to Prometheus, so you can just stack, so she'll be able to deal enough damage. And for the utility that you don't have, you can just use your team members for that because you have the flexibility for it. 2, she is an Earth Beast card, and those are rare. We haven't had a good Beast leader in a very long time, and we also haven't had a very good Earth leader in a very long time as well. I mean, Jojo just passed and there was an Earth leader, but traditional Earth leaders, we haven't had like Earth beasts or beast in general. So if you want to have that as a leader, it's also going to be good for specific achievements and things like that. And thirdly, her second active skill is very good, and I think you will not regret having this in any of your teams moving forward. But yeah, we have a combined skill, but honestly, it's a nice thing, but activating them... Oh, no. Activating separately gives you a lot of benefits, but the main benefit of this is that it gives you a blessed state for 3 rounds, which is basically a way to give you a bunch of other bonuses as well. So, other than using up your crafts, because that's limited and finite, you can use a combined skill and you can use the combined skill to enter blessed state, which is pretty good. It also gives you a bunch of benefits too, and utility to break things, but I do think that all runestones can be dissolved singly or in groups of 2 or more. I believe, or in my opinion, I prefer activating 2 skills separately because I can choose the timing. In this case, you're basically using up all your EP on both cards to activate it, but the benefits you get are pretty good, but it's just a very burst option for one enemy. Meanwhile, you can activate both active skills at different times and have more flexibility that way. But this combined skill is pretty good, specifically for the blessed state, which will allow Prometheus and Nero to have all those benefits from the blessed state, and also help you in calamitous stages as well. But yeah, free draws like always, Dragonware. Here's the thing, if you're not pulling for these cards, you don't have to worry about the Dragonware, and if you are, then this is a very nice bonus to have. Nero's Dragonware is actually very disappointing. That's just okay. Beasts only. Here's the thing, beasts don't really have that good Dragonware, so I was hoping this would be a good Dragonware, but not really. On the other hand though, Prometheus Dragonware is actually very good because you get a 2x attack bonus for dissolving a group of 5 or more light runes, which is very easy to do for a lot of teams. Team attack times 1.5, 1.15, and attack basic value for this. But here's the thing, why I think, or why I say this is a very good Dragonware, is because the craft skills are very good. CDF all enemies +2 is one of the best controlling skills that you have, and it also bypasses any skills that they might have. And you also launch 5 extra attacks of each attribute, which helps you break 5 element shields, and this is very useful, especially for future teams that may not have a way to launch different attacks or break 5 element shields. But yeah, so that was pretty good. And honestly, those 2 are the main things that I wanted to talk about, because black gold cards are insane. But yeah, let's just finish the GNN news. We have a new Ancient War with a new Dark Dragon, 2 active skills, CD8 and CD6. And honestly, these active skills are not bad since you're able to have them both in one card. And it ties into the fact that team slots are more premium nowadays, so having more utility consolidated into one card is going to be amazing. Burning, -1, burning is lowered by 1, you deal damage regardless of trio and quintet. you launch extra fire attacks. Each dragon launches one extra fire attack, and the skill stays in play until no dragon runes are dissolved, which is very good for Novalis and Ursula, I think. But for this first active skill, there's a lot of other members that you can use that do his things better. For the second active skill, we explode second and fourth column to generate dragon runes. Basically, it's fixed middle board generation, which, you know, it's not great because what happened to the first and sixth columns? If you want to dissolve all runestones to the first batch, you need to be able to dissolve the first and sixth columns too. Basically, this is a kind of watered down version of Fawn, Nightmare Stage Fawn, and you might as well run that. So this card is good if you don't have any options, but otherwise there's a lot of dark dragons in the game now that do better things. Yeah, and now we have a new ultimate stage with one of the new mechanical insect series. And honestly, this card is not bad because it gives you a 100% fuel increase and also gives you more utility with a fixed board and also ignoring scorching areas. Scorching areas are more prevalent now, and some teams are not able to deal with it, especially some Makina's teams are lacking in that utility department, so having that for Makina teams is going to be amazing. Also, if your team HP is at 1 at the end of the round, your CD, your cooldown, it decreases by 5, which allows you to activate it again. That is very situational, so don't consider that, but overall I think it is a very good card to get for Makina teams in the future. Not that you can run it now because Miku teams are the premium Makina teams right now, and they like to run Mono Miku, and so it's hard to slot this one in. But yeah, last but not least, we have a new new content for Tower of Saviors, which is going to be a secret base. And we don't know much about it. We just know it's going to be just like any other gacha games. You build your base, you can decorate it and stuff. So yeah, pretty exciting in my opinion. I'm excited to see what it brings and if there's free rewards tied with it. But for now, we don't know much about it. So yeah, just to recap, we did have the 2 new black gold cards, which honestly I think Prometheus is going to be the more desirable leader for newer players, while Nero is going to be a very good addition for players that have more cards because of her unique attribute and race. And Nero definitely has the best member skill. That being said, Prometheus is also a very good member for future teams as well, but the utility that Nero's second active skill gives you is going to be amazing for any team in the future. So if you have limited diamonds, just consider what I said, and remember, this is just a game, so don't make smart financial decisions, please. Dragonware, Nero's Dragonware is just mid, and Prometheus Dragonware is actually very good. It is a win more though, because you are required to get a Prometheus or a Nero in the first place to get them, and at that point, you already spent enough resources, so having this freebie is pretty nice. We have a new Ancient Wards with a new Dark Dragon card, which is not bad, but just okay. And lastly, we have a new Ultimate Stage card, which is going to be a good addition for Makina teams when we have another Makina, Fire Makina leader as well. And last but not least, a new secret base mechanic content that will be very interesting to see what it offers to us. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about this GNN news review. Hope you enjoyed it and didn't miss me too much. I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you have any comments or if I said anything wrong, please let me know in the comments section, please. But for now, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone!生活充满乐趣，歌曲迎来最初旋律。